Well, I just ran across this story. 2 young boys dead and mother in critical condition. They said mother fell from a balcony. They got into the apartment and the 2 little boys were dead. And they had just lost their father to leukemia very recently. So I pulled the cards. And the overview of this is she was just mentally tied up, mentally just with the loss of her husband. I get the feeling of absolute overwhelm, not knowing how she was going to survive and take care of these 2 children. From the cards, I have a lot of cups. Action cards and cups. So it looks like she did this action. At the center of it, we had this temperance, balance, the mixing of these elements. And above it was the action of mixing these things, and underneath of it, it was the burden that she was carrying that was too much, this action. So it looks like the autopsy, I predict, is going to come back that she had poisoned them, either gave them some sort of pills, medication, but something that they had drank. Because going into it, we have what's being offered up is some sort of food item or something, some drink and some fallacy to the family. You know, she lost her husband. And so underneath of it, she was contemplating the next action, okay, for her family. And that's what she came up with. She came up with the fact that above it, this was too much of a struggle for her. The challenge was the desires, what's being pushed. Underneath of it, again, we have the cup. And the outcome was this was her way to get to a better place. Although it looks like she lost her husband due to leukemia. The situation was overwhelming for her on the burden of this new action that she would have to be the sole support for these children. And her way to get out of this was to poison these boys. And then she jumped from the balcony to commit suicide. Just a very sad reading. So I'm going to leave that here, but that's what I get. I get with it all cups, 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 more cups, and the action. The action was the cups. So she fed them something. Either it was sleeping pills or it was some sort of a poison, but she killed these young boys out of the fact that she had just lost her husband and didn't know how she was going to cope. And this was her answer to get to a better place. Take the lives of these 2 young boys and jump off trying to commit suicide, jumping off the balcony. The boys are dead. She's, I guess, fighting for her life in the hospital. So I'm going to see, I'll put the link to this story in and see if there's any follow-up with what happened to these two young boys. But according to the tarot, according to this, if it's correct, she poisoned them. Just a sad situation. Lose your husband, and then she had that burden, didn't know how she's going to take care of her children. I think that's what it came down to. She didn't feel that she had the wherewithal to be able to raise them on her own. What a sad state of desperation.